Good evening, heroes and heroines, and welcome to Practising Programming in C, where we are continuing to do Cinera's config file parsing stuff. Now, yesterday we did this new merge scopes function, and we also got absorb fields sort of working a little bit more kind of intelligently. It essentially we call it now twice. We call it in, well, not twice in one go, but we call it in two different situations. We call it in the situation that we locate a previously parsed scope, as well as in the case that we push a new scope on. And you know what? I've been thinking about this since the last stream, and I think, basically the plan was to pre-feed merge scopes and absorb fields, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm not doing merge scopes as it should really be doing. Yeah, right. So merge scopes doesn't actually take into account scopes, right? So a scope that's contained within a scope tree. So say that you've got two scopes here. Say that you want to merge if you want to merge this scope and this scope, we're not currently handling like subscopes, so that's going to have to happen. You can see we're only looping over the bool pairs, the int pairs, and the pairs, and pairs are just normal strings. So we do need to make merge scopes handle actual scopes, and I feel like in order to handle scopes, it's going to actually have to call itself, essentially, so that you can actually get through multiple levels of scopes. So I think that's the first thing I'm going to do here. Copy scope, I think I also kind of realised, well, actually no, copy scope is okay now. I wasn't sure if I was actually setting the new destination after pushing the scope, but I am doing, so that's fine. Copy scope contents on the dest. Yeah, so that's that isn't busted as I kind of suspected it could potentially have been. It's possible that you can sort of see here that we've got copy scope does the push scope, setting of the ID, and then the setting of the type spec before doing the copy scope contents. Right. Let's just pull up this dude in here. That's kind of similar to what's going on here. Oh, right. So that's supposed to be printing that before the absorption, and then that's printing out the scope after the absorption. Yes, if you just ignore these little lines for now. The one thing we're not doing is setting the ID. Are we? Maybe push scope actually sets the ID. Well, hang on. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, well, actually, what does push scope set the ID? Yeah, it does. If there's an ID to set, then it does set it. So it's passing the pointer to that. Yeah, so this does need to happen because push scope itself is going to do it. Yeah, it dereferences that ID and sets it. Oh, this is about the offsetting of the pointers of to parents. Yeah, so I think this is now okay, and you can sort of see that they're doing exactly the same thing, right? Des push scope, parent push scope. It's going to set the type spec. I suppose, yeah. It's essentially the same thing. In the sense that it has to set the type spec somehow. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to, when you copy scope, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to set the type spec anew. Yeah, I'm not sure. But then we have the copy scope contents, right? And what does that do? Copy scope contents just does this. Whereas this person does absorb fields. And what does absorb fields do? So it does do this, which is a bit more stuff, but it's very similar stuff. It's just like going over the trees. I think maybe I prefer to do the trees last as well, by the way, but that's another issue. Point being that it does very similar stuff. And you can see here merge scope does very similar stuff as well. So all these things are really, really, really similar. The main difference is that copy scope contents doesn't bother to check if something is already set. So it doesn't bother to try and do, in the case of like the push pair version, it doesn't bother to do this get assignments. Right. But I think we should be able to dispense with copy scope contents altogether in favor of just merge scopes, and let merge scopes just do this check, do the get assignments. Because if we're copying to something that's empty anyway, then it's not going to be much work to like do this get assignment call, because it's not going to have to even enter this for loop because the pair count will be 0. It'll just be like literally an extra call and then an extra check. You'd have set these, but these are probably nothing. And also merge scopes. So the idea of merge scopes is that it's supposed to be merging sibling scopes. And what that means is that if our source scope contains a field, then because because the source scope and the destination scope are siblings, the destination scope could also contain that field. It'd be a valid field in that scope. So we could dispense with this call, which would only leave us with having to know how to get the singletonness. So yeah. I suppose it's worth making that distinction because absorb fields here down at the bottom is kind of like operating on like a child scope and a parent scope. Whereas merge scope would be operating on the same level. If that makes sense. So the first thing I'm going to do here is actually merge in the scopes. Well, actually, you don't need to set this up at all, do you? You just pass that to get scope, don't you? So that's going to be a scope tree. And then, if we've got this assignment, then I reckon what you should be doing is doing a merge sibling. And this should be merging in to this assignment the source trees I. I think that's what you want. Otherwise, we sort of have to do the copy scope. Just double checking what this is actually doing. So this is taking a parent. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like the dest and the source trees I. It doesn't crash. Now another thing also is that copy scope will have to actually do the same thing. Yeah, I think it will just literally be just copy scope, won't it? So we're copying that. I think that's a little bit more correct. In the sense that we're at least going to be copying and merging entire scopes as opposed to just one level of them. I guess also it's possible that that is just it, strangely enough. That's the shot I'm looking for here, by the way. Because I haven't specifically done anything that would probably actually change anything, honestly. Because of the fact that like our scopes only really contain one level of scoping within them. Yeah, I don't know. Let's now just take a look at the absorb fields situation. It's happened to happen in both situations, right? I also now feel that this particular absorb field's call that I'm sitting on up here, the top one, could conceivably be a merge. Parent is coming in. We're trying to get a scope matching the pair from the parent. Yeah, interesting. Maybe merge wouldn't be the thing to do. Again, bearing in mind that merge is the thing that operates on siblings. It's a bit troubling that we have a separate absorb fields which can call, and I think I will just stick this guy down at the bottom just so it does everything in the same order that everything else does, which is goes through the pairs, then the ints, then the bools, and then finally the scopes. So we've got this thing that comes into absorb fields. It does this, comes down into the scopes, and if it has to copy a scope, it'll call copy scope. And copy scope itself will call itself. If it comes down and it has to merge sibling scopes, it'll call that. And merge sibling scopes will itself call merge sibling scopes. Right. So it seems like we just have some absolute direct duplication going on here. Yeah, it's doing exactly the same thing. The only difference is that it's doing the if this times big is permeable. Isn't it? Oh, it's doing the... So I'll flip these cases, but that's okay. Well, where is the test? Well, actually, is absorb fields itself now actually handling the case of siblings? And I think it is, isn't it? Because it's get scope that actually does that for us. Yeah, you remember how we could pass this directly, pass the see, we're setting up this pair, which is just the parent tree's ID. We can just pass that here in the same way that we could pass that there. But then again, it's just the same stuff from there on in. So I sort of feel like What if we do just change merge sibling scopes back to be merged scopes? I mean, it is doing more stuff actually, isn't it? Merge sibling scope is saying if we do manage to get an assignment, then set that. Whereas this guy just doesn't bother. But similarly, you know, if we're calling this function on a newly pushed scope, you know, if the newly pushed scope is this, in other words, the destination child, we're not going to get an assignment anyway, because it doesn't contain anything. So this should handle that. You know, we shouldn't end up in a situation doing this erroneously. Also, see what's going on here? Why bother setting up that? Why not just pass this? I'm feeling like merge sibling scope. Well, I probably will change it back to be merge scopes and just use this as the general one. But I feel like this is the one that we should be talking about. And I guess we could just take a pointer to that. Bit weird that we're doing that. Tell you what, screw it. Oh, yeah. An interesting thing about this also now, right? Get assignments is going to return a null pointer. I mean, we're really getting down into the weeds here, but you don't even need this line. Oh, actually, you do, because you're using this assignment here. So I'll take that back. Yeah, you need to be operating on that somehow. But in the same way that we did that up there, should we just say in pairs? Like this. Get rid of this. God, I'm sure that I remembered not to put the ampersand at the start of that time. Psychology. So yeah, like I was saying, if you just do, it's det, isn't it? If you just do that, then they're all exactly identical. Functionally identical. This is observed fields, isn't it? Yeah. So the only difference between... Yeah, I mean, crazily, this... So absorb fields... I mean, I assume this is right. Maybe the only difference between the merged scopes previously... Or maybe it just all works. I mean, could it just be a happy accident that we end up operating on like passing to this absorb fields? Is it just a happy accident that we're passing children and parents in the place where they should be passing children and parents, which is here, and we're passing siblings? Well, no, that's not right, because we actually pass. We're specifically saying the parents' parents. So we are passing children and parents. let's just swap these for the merge fields because it's exactly the fucking same. And it's going to be then calling itself. Merge scopes will be calling itself. So then, absorb fields is out of the picture. It'll come merge scopes and is merge scopes performing this check? Yeah, it is. Oh, well. Seriously? Yeah, it's not, is it? Maybe just make merge scopes take a bool, which is like intergenerational, right? If the merge is intergenerational, then make it do this additional check. Make sure that we're not trying to merge in the same merging a pair that's the same. And I believe this thing here would be a false. When you do this merge scopes here, it wouldn't be intergenerational. Could be way off whack here, but I think that would be true. Bit cryptic, but let's go with it for now. This is absorb fields, which is I think we should just get rid. Well, actually, let's just keep it until we've actually done this check. Right, and then we're going to have to, actually make this person call it passing intergenerational. again, this is absorb fields, yeah. So what's this check going to be? If it's intergenerational, so we want to be making sure that that isn't this. So we need that somehow in it. I think that should get us in there, shouldn't it? If it's intergenerational and the parent key is not this, well, hang on a second. If it's intergenerational and the thingamajig is that, we need to make sure we don't enter this. So intergenerational and that could be true, which we need to negate. Intergenerational and it's not that will be no. So we flip that to make it yes, so we would pass. It's not intergenerational, so that'll be no when you flip it. So I think this is the right case. I think this is correct. So now I believe nobody should be calling absorb field, should they? Yeah, nobody calls that, apart from that person who mentions it. So let's just run it and see what happens. So that seems to take the same amount of time. Both people are calling merge scopes. So the things we were looking at the other day was like the in application. So that's that guy saying in app, which is kind of troubling because I think that's what we were trying to find, trying to get that to say in application. That's saying in application. Further than risky. Right. So yeah, I think we've broken it a little bit. Merge scopes is doing the intergenerational. Sorry, it's doing the is permeable. So maybe we need to say if it's not intergenerational or this is permeable. We get into this. Right, because if it is generational, we want to check that we are permeable. That might not fix it, but I think that's something we would have had to do. There's risky, it's got an application for run. Oh, has that fixed it? Then risky business. And now we've got an application for run. So yeah, maybe that did just fix it. Strangely enough. And run's got an application as well. So yeah, everybody's now propagating down that in application setting. Well, I didn't expect that to exactly be the solution. So when we originally called merge scopes, well actually, yeah, I mean both of the main calls to it are intergenerational. They're both intergenerational. Call merge scopes. Right, putting a generational here. So we found we've come through here and we've located this. You know, we're passing this guy in, and in doing this get scope, we've actually found this. It was previously passed in. It's the in-application thing that we're trying to get right. See, we pass this in. When we do get scope on this, we find this, and we want to merge scopes. So we're merging the root scopes stuff down into Oz, because that's what, you know, doing parent and parent. So we do that. Tag not fine for merge scopes. Really? Sure, I've done that plenty of times. So intergenerational is going to be true. If we're not intergenerational, all the type spec is permeable, and the destination type spec is going to be permeable. Then we enter this, do all the stuff, we're then going to go over the tree count. And we're going to first of all see if we can find this, which we won't because we haven't got there yet. So we're going to copy that scope in to our thing. And you do that for all of the trees. So you do that. And then you come down to here and you continue going through your parsing. You push your annotators and push these guys on to this. Push your medium run onto that. And then you come down to here. And you do that same get scope on Project Risky Business. You look up into, you want to do the get scope on this. So you look up into your parent, which I believe should actually be looking up into this. I think that's how it would work. So you look up into this, search through the trees, find this. So upon finding this, you then do the merge thing. You've got intergenerational set. So you got intergenerational set, but this is permeable. So we're going to come into here and go over all of those guys. Pulling those in. We're then going to go over the trees, but there's no trees within Risky Business. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure that I understand. Yeah, why this was getting in-app previously before doing that additional check. But now we're getting it. I think I might like to step through just to try and solidify my understanding of that. It's one of those things where I sort of, I don't know, you sort of intuitively sort of feel, it's just like a gut feeling that you need to check an additional thing. Or give yourself an additional way of getting into this thing. But you don't know exactly why. So what we're talking about here is getting into this risky business for the second time. So I guess what we could do is this is going to become the destination, isn't it? I guess we could say if the well, actually, it's LV0, isn't it? So we got there for the first time. Now let's get there for the second time and see what happens. So what have we got so far? And also, let me just, if I just continue now, we shouldn't hit this case again, should we? Huh. So we hit it 4 times, I think. Maybe... wonder why that was. Oh, we've got another risky business down here, haven't we? So we've got this one. That's unfortunate. I mean, I suppose if the title... but by the time we get that title, it's too late. And why is that saying in-app? Oh, that's probably for Handmade Hero, isn't it? Yeah, that's almost definitely for Handmade Hero. Or Handmade Ray, yeah. The first time that is the destination. I mean, maybe a better place of doing it, this actually would be down where we call it. Yeah, it'd be under here, wouldn't it? If we manage to get that scope. So this should mean that we've got to here. Right? And I think we should hit this. I think we should hit this twice. First of all, this time when it finds this, and then this time when it finds this. I think that should happen, so let's just check that. So that's 1 time, 2 time, and this time we get 3 times. Okay, so I don't really understand why we're getting to it so many times, I guess. Let's just run it again, and let's just step through this. So yeah, well, the parent is now being set to the upper one because we see that the stuff to follow is the product equals hero. Like there's nothing in here that's saying about medium equals, you know, medium equals run. It doesn't contain. Oh, that's a point. It should come before that anyway. But the after stuff, so we're seeing risky business here. So we're seeing this. You know, we're not seeing down to here. we're seeing down to the project equals hero thing, so we must be up here. So we're pointing into there. I mean, what we want to see is when does the in application get pulled in, and under what circumstances. That's what we're looking for. Medium equals run. To step into merge scopes, I think this is set to permeable. The tree count is 15. I guess we could also just look at the trees, maybe. So we've got admin. I presume. Okay. Okay, run. So the tree's 12. What could that contain? Oh, it's going to contain pairs, isn't it? So it's the icon. In app. So yeah, it's currently in app. It's the 12th one. So going to merge scopes. Is it intergenerational? Yeah, it is. But is the destination type spec also permeable? It is, yeah. So it's going to enter this. It's going to enter this stuff. So what I'm trying to look for. Well, actually, we are going to be pulling in, merging in the original in-app thing, aren't we, this time? Oh, actually. When we come to check, we should find that, yeah, we should be finding that the medium equals run. Is somewhere, shouldn't we? Like the destination's parent. What is the yeah, let's have a look at the destination's parent. So that's saying in-app. What about the source? So Isle of Shame. Rant. That's in-app. So yeah, I don't know where. Really don't know what in-app application is. But I think what we do know, we're never going to actually get there until we get into the merging scopes. So let's, because it's a medium, right? And a medium is a scope. So let's go down to here. And follow this through. It is a medium. I guess we could skip past, so we can get this assignment, couldn't we? Yeah, I think that would be a reasonable thing to do. This is probably going to be the ID, isn't it? The icon. Okay, yeah, so that's how you do this. Have we got I in this thing? Yeah, we do. Well, actually, that isn't what I want. Yeah, it is this. It is 0 and 1. So I think I want to be going through this until the name or I guess the ID value is run. So yeah, let's just do that. And also, if that's what I want to do, let's make a give us a way to do that easily. So this is going to be in here. It's not in here at all. So this assignment ID value I think that's correct. So let's so we didn't find the run. Got an illegal instruction. What? Okay. So we got here. So now we want to step through into merge scopes, I guess. We're not intergenerational. So we're going to enter this scope. Let's have a look. It's actually pairs. In app, so that's the dest pairs value. So that's in app as well. So I assume nothing will have to happen. So this is the icon. So yeah, there's no change there. Seems to be pulling out of the same area as well. I guess additionally, what we're looking for is when we get source pairs value to be in application. Yeah, we shouldn't hit run this time because we just did it. So I guess it's just continue to the next time we hit that run. So we're now doing intergenerational. We're now not doing intergenerational. So we're going to come into here. So we're going to try. So we've got this assignment. That's just the icon again. There's in-app. In-app again. So we're in the run scope again, not intergenerational. First assignment is going to be the icon. So there's in-app, that's the destination. That's still in-app. I don't think we hit that case again, do we? Oh, we do. Okay. Oh, maybe we hit this. Maybe we hit this more often than I think we are. Than I thought we would do. Right, somebody's getting in-game set. So it's not in application at all anymore. So yeah, this is going to have nothing to do with what we want, so let's just continue. Yeah, here again. Oh, it's the icon. So that's in-app. So they've got an application, finally. It's only saying one place, which is, yeah, above the project equals risky business scopes. It's above these two scopes where we set that in application. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really learned. I haven't really learned how we've got it. So it's not permeable, and it's not intergenerational. So I guess that was kiboshing us, wasn't it? So a medium is not permeable, but since we're not intergenerational, right, that's I think I now understand it. Permeability is to do with absorbing from your parents, but merging with siblings does not require permeability. You know, you can freely merge between siblings, and since that's what we're doing, we can get into this case and actually get the get that medium information. Right, I think I understand now. Yeah, I think I do. I think I get it. So we've got the idea of absorbing stuff from parents. We've got the idea of merging siblings. So if I'm not mistaken, I think we're now correct. Yeah, there's nothing off the top of my head that... There's nothing springing to mind that's really not correct. I suppose there was that one thing, wasn't there? It's not the correctness, but it's just to do with copying scope and merge scope. Merge scopes requires intergenerational information. That needs to care about intergenerational. Whereas copy scope just blanket, just copies. I mean, maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine to have a separate copy scope that does its minimal thing, and then have this more sort of fleshed out merge scopes that does all of its logic. And just a final double check. The owner, we now know that the owner, that wasn't getting absorbed because we weren't setting it currently. But these guys are now getting absorbed, aren't they? We should find that the handmade hero ones shouldn't know about annotators just yet. But the risky business one, all of the risky ones should know about annotators. Like these guys down here are in risky. Yeah, annotator. Yeah, so these guys are getting it. Yeah, everybody knows about them. So yeah, I reckon that's it. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. Now the two things here. Couldn't hurt to reset fields again for a newly pushed scope. I don't think it could anyway. It'd just be a bit of a waste, but who cares? I mean, you could even check, couldn't you, if search, reset the fields. Oh yeah, it's going to be faster because it's not printing out so much nonsense. Just double check one last time that all looks okay-ish. There's Miyatatsu. And let's just also make sure that in-application stuff is being set. Yeah. That's probably getting through just fine. So yeah, pretty unrigorous way of doing this. We're just literally highballing it. Run should be currently set to in-app at this point, shouldn't it? Yeah. Well, yes, because this is app. It's not inside this risky project here, or this. So yeah, that's being set in the included file. And I guess to put things back as it were, let's just stick this back into the included file. So we're talking about the stuff that we want to be talking about. This should produce nothing different, by the way. And so it's still coming through. And where's that run? Yeah, application is still getting set just fine. The default medium for risk is now set down here in research programming. Default medium is set to speech for risk. Because of this. But now such programming. Yeah, so I think we're just fine. I think we're fine. I think we can resume resolving variables. Yeah, I'm going to call this I'm going to call it fine. So, oh shit, we've only got 12 minutes left. How long are we going? An hour and a half. Yeah, I'm going to do another half an hour, at least. In fact, I could do another. Could go to midnight or something. So yeah, I'll just take a little quick break, and then continue with the resolution stuff. So yeah, be back in a couple of minutes. with a banana. So I want to do another 40 minutes or so. And we're not yet into the next day, so we're not on the 31st yet. Not exactly sure how that goes, but it seems to give us enough time. This may not be appropriate for the ident include. Hopefully we don't care, do we? Well, it does check it like that. So it's getting the icon's already set. The title list end is already set as well. I think the icon already set is one thing we know about. Yeah, that's this link here. We know all about that. Similarly, we know about this stuff being erroneously set. Yeah, and then we've got two title list ends. So we know that is correct. So yeah, I don't think that note is correct anymore. So who could be absorbing the name? Yeah, I don't think we saw anything going wrong with that, did we? Because this will be being set. Will be being absorbed, rather. I think basically all this was talking about was the thing when we were failing to reset fields, or before we had the idea of reset fields. Yeah, that's all that was. So yeah, you can see the name is one of the things that was being set, title, default medium, name. And reset fields is the thing that handles that. That's no longer true. So let's go down to the variable resolution. It'd be pretty insane if this now blows up because I haven't done anything that should do anything to do with that. So HML, that's probably the family variable, isn't it? Yeah. We don't have the owner. So let's go for it. Resolve variables. So push people. Handmade Ray probably doesn't have an owner. That's probably what's going on there, actually. Yeah. Yeah, now you can see that comes through. So that's fine. Best to look in. Sprite support to the icon for PayPal. So we're not handling support. So where do we do this? Again, it's resolve string, isn't it? Yeah, how's all this working? Push project. Push project, pushing on this thingamajig. So it's probably in push person, actually, isn't it? It's only people who know about that. Push person onto project. Okay, so it's going to be the icon. So we're trying to resolve the string of the icon. So it's in resolve string that you do it. Okay. So basically I just need to add another case for the support. Right. There's your ident family waiting to be filled in. So if we see the support, we're looking to get the ID. Yeah, it's basically just this, isn't it? And this is going to be giving us, it's going to be filling in this thing here, which we don't actually, we're not going to get anymore. So let's just make myself the owner of Hamid here again. Yep, so that comes through. Now you can see that I didn't support. You can see that these two are absolutely identical. So where is scope? The scope tree is coming in. It's switching on the variable. Yeah, I'm not sure how any of this is working. Scope tree. Well, I mean, it's done the job, hasn't it? It might be nicer to actually understand how that's working. So we're pushing on. So it was under here, wasn't it? Support tree pair count. So if the key is a URL, or rather if the parent, because that's what passing, isn't it? If the parent is a support, so if we're resolving onto a thing, then when you see project, or rather when you see support, then you use the ID, which is what we're doing here. So I think I understand. Right. Ident support means that we're passing this. So the question is, where can this be resolved? And it sort of seems like this could only conceivably be resolved within the support. If it's used within a support, it wouldn't make sense if I was to kind of do this, because we don't know which support it could be, because this person can have multiple supports. So yeah, I think that is making sense to me. If our scope's ID is added support, then we can set that. Same in the project, right? And also person as well. Now, sending through generations, I think this is to do with a person can contain stuff. I think we've got this in the include file, haven't we? Yeah, a person Miyatatsu can contain this. So the idea, basically, is that the support Patreon could use the person's actual thing, and that's how we've set it up, isn't it? Yeah, you can see there, using the person. So that just stuffs the person's name onto there. So we're sending through multiple generations. Yeah, it's a bit of a question. I mean, we don't maybe need to do it, because this is as deep as we can go in this context. And if you think about it, say like for example we were to do under here, if you wanted to do this so it matches against the owner, this thing will have absorbed that anyway, right? Yeah, so it's like for the scope pairs. This, yeah, then this would totally just pick everything up that we need. So yeah, I think that's fine. What else do we need? So yeah, we've got the owner, we need the family still. I'm leaving that till last because it's going to be a bit more stuff to do. The home is a environment variable. Project we're doing. Person we do. Project we're doing. Support we're doing. So is that all of them? And there's no variables in this whole file? Really? Okay. So I suppose we're just down to the family, aren't we? Yeah, do the family. And then I guess just finish it up, so you know, just support all the ones that we could conceivably support. I guess that's the idea. Another thing we need to do also is actually set the default mediums. Because you can look, when you do push project, we just got this note, point to medium. Yeah, and we still haven't really got the story straight for this. I guess before I do the family variable, let's just do this. Let's do the push medium. Well, it's not push medium. It's just literally, it's just get medium. So do we have that? Oh, sorry. It's gonna be push medium, isn't it? Well, wait a minute. What? I didn't default medium. Oh, so we actually do it, do we? Well, yeah, I guess we already do it. Which is perfectly fine with me. Now this is a bit, not sure how I should necessarily delineate this. Just because it's got, we're falling through here, might be an idea to put this on the line below. Just to indicate this, that's kind of intentional, maybe. So yeah, I guess it's just a case of doing the family. Double check there's nothing else further to add. No. Now, climb the tree up through parents, prepending the IDs of all the ancestors. So we've got the scope tree. I assume that it is just literally that, isn't it? So I think the general idea here, you can see the resolution is going to be a pointer to a string. Well, it's not, is it? Sorry. It's going to be an actual string, but it's going to be the thing that points to values. And then the resolution itself gets used to hold on a second. So we're getting past the dest. So yeah, maybe we don't need to bother to kind of allocate anything. Although we are going to have to allocate for the actual string that we're building up. Where's this variable coming from? So the variable's coming in. So yeah, you can. So if ident family, I think we want to essentially be making a string to set as the resolution, and then down at the bottom, if it was a family and we had to make that string, just free it. I think it's the very first step let's just climb up through the family. So let's print out our scope ID. And also the family can only appropriately be used within a project. So it's like if the scope ID key is equal to project, then we can do something about it. And then it's like, I mean, I guess it's kind of like while, actually, isn't it? What can you print? Blimey, I keep hitting comma. So, what doesn't it like? It wants a config pair and indentation. It doesn't like that. Okay. Let's also not print out so much stuff. So there's Ray and Hero and Ray. Unfortunately, these are all interspersed within. Well, actually, I haven't said that. At least that's giving us a bit more stuff to actually see. So yeah. So coad book risky. So risky book coad. So basically what we want to try and be producing here is risky / book / coad / well, no, I don't think we'd delineate. I don't think we'd surround it with /. So one thing I was wondering about actually was adding to the scope trees a sort of like, as you ascend scopes, you only have one parent, right? So you can always climb the tree up your parents, but you have multiple children. And you don't know how to actually, like if you take a route up the tree, you don't know which route you took. You can't know which route you took if you've got more than one child. So what I'm kind of wondering is, a couple of options here is just add a pointer to the scope trees to it basically like the story of the Minotaur when they had the ball of yarn that they took around the labyrinth, so that they could like go in and find their way out again. I could do that sort of an idea. Just setting pointers to the guy that I just came from. Or I could do another thing, which is like just build up the string in reverse. I'm not exactly sure what I prefer to do. I mean, I'm only going to be using this thing in this specific case. So it seems like it'd be a bit of a waste to actually stick a pointer in there just for this. I think the general logic, by the way, should just be um, do the string and then just say here. I'm just thinking in terms of the forward slashing, by the way. So if we have got a scope and we can add if we can add something else. I mean, it's a little bit overkill, but maybe I could do a memory book for it. Let's do that. I think a book page of 64K should be fine. And all they want to be saying is push string onto a particular book. Let's just do this now. We're going to do it in reverse. But let's just do it so at least we've got some idea of how you do this. So it's a push string. Just taking a string list out. It's not what I want. So I want to be taking the memory book. So why is nothing taking a memory book? Oh. So add page, free book. Right string in book. That's what I'm talking about. So let's just do a right string in book. Oh, and they are strings as well, so that's kind of nice. So, what's it taking? It's taking a pointer to the memory book, yeah. Oh, right, yeah. It's a different thing before, wasn't it? this? Oh, this is the resolve local variable. Try and copy just the right stuff. Resolve memory box. So let's just stuff that right there. So we've got that, and then let's just make a new string. It's kind of ridiculous. I don't know that we've got an easy way of doing this either, actually, sadly. This is going to be absolutely, yeah, totally ridiculous, but like... Don't try this at home, folks. So all this is doing here is allocating a byte for to store this slash. I probably should do a write string in book that actually takes a write string. It's probably a write string 0 in book. So you don't need to actually allocate. You don't need to actually construct a string for it. Oh, actually, I didn't need to do this at all. That's more like what you want to do rather than doing a full make string. Okay. So that's interesting. Got buffer overflow and adjust that. Get or add page for string. How do you use memory box? Right. Oh, I probably want to actually print the thing out, won't I? Really? So there's our string, read a book risky. Unfortunately, we did get the / at the end. There's this. Yeah, we will do, won't we? Because of the way that we're building this thing up. Actually, I think that's the wrong test. It's not that. So you can see it's a little bit unfortunate. We've got exactly the same test. is up here. Yeah, now we don't get that extra forward slash. So this isn't what we want to be producing. We want to be producing the opposite way around. Feels like it could be exactly the same as write string in book, just insert string in book, insert string at start of book. So yeah, I mean, I guess we could rename write string in book to append string to book, and then do an prepend string to book. Does that make sense? So then you essentially take that string and you just move everything. You know, you fit enough space for it. This could get a little bit hairy because yeah, if you're having to move people around, it gets a bit dodgy, doesn't it? So let's just say that somebody's got an obnoxiously long family that needs more than the page size, so it needs to allocate a new page. If we have to move stuff within pages, we could conceivably have to move stuff into a new page, and then we could end up having to like go through that entire page moving that stuff. In some ways it seems like we're better off, rather than doing write string in book, can we use a string list? Because we do have one of those. Let's just take a look at the string list. Yeah, I suppose you need to actually... Well, you don't need to make the string though, do you? Because you've got the string. That's pretty interesting, ain't it? This could work. This could totally work. Let's try it. Bear with me on this one, because I haven't used string lists for ages. What was that function? Push string. Pretty goddamn sure you used to say this. Okay. So here we have our string list. Push string onto here. I think let's also do a little string for our forward slash. Now I know it seems weird to do it like this, but I think I need to do it. So that it's accessible later on. Right, so all we're doing here, pushing string, we're going to have to free the string list at some point. Can we print the string list? So we don't have a print string list. But what we can do is we can just say I'm not exactly sure what you'd want to be doing it. It sort of seems like you just go for it down here, really. So you don't bother to use the resolution in that case. Let's just print these guys for now. Yeah, there you have it. Risky but reader. Risky but code. 1B. Alright, so there we successfully reversed our string list. So if the scope, or rather if the variable is ident family, we want to be doing the upper one. Otherwise we want to be doing the bottom one. So it's like for each string, yeah, I mean this is just might as well just free that in this case. So if the variable is added family, then for the string list we have to, for the string list count it just prints the string, which just does that. So we actually want to be saying Right, so we're working through the strings backwards, but we're outputting them in the actual order that the order that the text occurs. So it's possible that that's just it. What does free string list actually do again? Free and reset count. So yeah, if it hasn't been allocated, then it doesn't do anything, and so yeah, there should be no harm. Well, I suppose, who cares? Yeah, it's only the added family that could even do a push string. So this isn't. We only need to free it if we get into added family. I think something would have to be going very, very wrong if that would just happen. But you remember I mentioned that slash should go up here. If I were to just put it down here, right, which is the place that it actually needs to be used, what do we get? Risky book, so we do get risky book reader coming through. Risky book coad. So yeah, we do seem to be getting stuff through, which kind of surprises me. And I'm not sure I can necessarily rely on that. And I'll tell you why. This thing here is going to be put on the stack for this scope. In fact, let's just have a look at this. This could be kind of instructive actually. Let's CGDB it. What I'd be interested to see is if the location of the slash changes, right? So it's essentially jumping through to here, or rather, I could jump into here. If we just run to here, and then look at the string list to see where the slashes are located. Oh right, I wasn't set. What I'm going to be looking at is the base, by the way. So I think it's just continuing to this again to get to the next guy. Step over. So we've got a base. Decorating eye. Okay, so there's a forward slash. That should be not a forward slash, yeah. So continue through to the next thing. That's also not forward slash. Why are we getting like two things that are not forward slashes? I wonder. There's a forward slash. And I'm pretty sure that's different, isn't it? Ah, interesting, so it's not different. Hmm. Let's go through book. Got no idea where we are, by the way. Whether we're just doing the book project or what. So yeah, we've popped out now. So they were both located at the same thing. I think what I'd just like to do, just very quickly, is try building it with OD and just see if that does anything different. Because it could have been that it kind of optimized the... It kind of realized that it was using a forward slash. Oh, wait a minute. So is that... Was that the non-optimized build? Yeah, I guess that was the non-optimized build. So that was a non-optimized. So maybe I'm just reading too much into it. And that this would just totally work. Yeah, I mean, it does all seem to be working. And I would have expected an optimized build to actually be able to just use the same address for stuff. Be more likely to actually oops. Oh my god, where is it? Yeah, be more likely to put the put that forward slash on the same location. Because all wrap Z is doing, right, is taking the base pointer of that kind of locally initialized string and setting that for the slash, setting that for the string, and also setting the length according to that thing. Because when you initialize one of these, they're just null terminated. course. Yeah, so we've got all this fun and games. So somehow has it managed to actually do that? This is just so insane. So that does no realise that that's that. But what is? Well, hang on a minute. How can I be 0? Yeah, this is just. Yeah, beyond my pay grade. I've no idea how to read this. Well, is the string list even initialized? No. Amazing. Apparently it's gone down to results, so it's going to have to, let's just see what goes on. It's probably going to have to pop back up to the start of the function, isn't it? To actually initialize that string list. It thinks it can free it. Yeah, it's possible it's just gone absolutely nowhere near. I expected it to have to. Yeah, I've got no idea what this is trying to do. So we got back into here. I mean, surely variable is set to added family. That's been optimized out. Dude. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any sensible information out of this person. Unfortunate, but that's just how it goes sometimes. And I suppose after all that, I mean, we definitely need to initialize a string list out here. So that we can actually access it down here. Yeah, I mean, I will say that there's an unfortunate thing here. Is that this dest thing is a bit hairy. Because you don't know how much space is available to it. So what is the dest? It's a pointer. Just some pointer. So it's basically this. You're basically sort of just trusting that you can have enough buffer to stuff that thing in. I think I might do a to-do here, which is just like do a page based, do it a bit more sensibly. So that should cover it. Yeah, but now we should be able to see print the config, we should now see that we have full paths. Oh, we totally do. Hero Ray. Let's just make me not the hero, not the owner of Handmade Hero anymore. Ah. I mean, I guess that's kind of fine because somebody will have written HMLD to be the owner. And if they haven't set that owner for the Handmade Hero project, they're going to end up with this path. That's just going to have to be on them. That is their loss, I'm afraid. But you can see a more complete thing here for one of the risky businesses. Get that full HMLD risky book reader. So yeah, that's from Risk 5 reader. Just keep going up to those crazy ones. So yeah, risky book code 1BI1. Oops. Okay, this is where I was. 1BI1. I suppose one thing we don't actually currently yet have is a null numbering scheme. So I think we want to actually add one of them. Shouldn't be any effort at all to do that. Actually, what are these? It's NS. Does it count? Yeah, I do think that we want some way to detect that we don't know what the numbering scheme should be, maybe. Well, in which case we need an S null. Whether we want to handle the unset numbering scheme, in which case we'll need an S null, or we just default to something. Well, hang on a minute, could we do that? Yeah, I'm not sure we could easily do that actually. Basically what we'd be talking about is in the resolve variables, it's going to be the push project onto config, isn't it? Yeah, numbering scheme for push project onto config. What we're basically talking about is when we're pushing a project, we'd want to have a way so you can see somewhere numbering scheme. It's got to be an int, isn't it? Yeah, so you can see here we're going to go all over all the int pairs, but it's possible that, I mean, it's what's happening in some of our people, in fact, is that the numbering scheme isn't set. and it's just getting defaulted to calendrical because that's the 0th one. I mean, the alternative would be, if we've gone through, this is in push scope, or scope tokens rather. If we've gone through the whole of this function, like if we've got to the end of scope thingamajigs, without detecting the numbering scheme, then alert the user, or rather set it to default by default. I mean, another option could be, if we want to set it to default, if you want to have a default thing, then when you push a scope on, if the scope is a parent scope, if the scope is a project, then push on the default thing that you want. Push on the default numbering scheme. That probably would be actually what you'd have to do, isn't it? And then when somebody comes along and actually sets that somewhere, it will just override the previously pushed thing. Push on those values and then reset fields so that it's like saying that that this thing wasn't set locally. So then when somebody comes to actually push on the numbering scheme, they won't get told that they've already set it because they didn't actually set it. I'm going to show you where that's happening, by the way. Calendrical. Right, this is happening for reader. It's pretty goddamn unlikely that reader should be setting that at all. So I can just show you the whole lot actually. So all of Risky Business's stuff is set through these two things. Here's the included file, and the only thing that the included file is even set in is the default medium for the risk project. And then in here we're looking to find the numbering scheme, a numbering scheme setting. In fact, I could just search for it, and yeah, sure enough, I'm searching for it in here and it's just not appearing. So when you see this happening here, numbering scheme calendrical, on for the research for the book reader. Book reader is this thing here. It's not coad. It's the next one. It's this thing here, right? Right, we're now saying that to that. And also, if I just do this, we should get a warning. Ah, so we do get the valid numbering schemes, but we get some crap here. Free scope tree. So yeah, we need to clean up this stuff. I'm not exactly sure where that's going to be. Free scope tree. So it's a read memory access. It's free scope. Free scope tree just needs to check if it's got a scope tree. Well, I guess that's right. So yeah, we do have that. But as I say, we need a way to actually handle. We need a story about whether we set a default or whatever. But yeah, I think for now that is going to have to suffice. And yeah, I guess tomorrow we're going to be thinking about this numbering scheme stuff. I think we'll also consider what other variables we could even handle. So let's do that as a to-do actually. Merge into Cinera's main. Oh right, the return codes. So we proofread merge skids and absorb fields and see about compressing them. We have done that. We got rid of absorbed fields. We now just have the one merge scopes. It gets invalidated when the scope trees companies reallocate its trees pointer. Yeah, we do now also need to think about how we want to do this. Whether we want to continue to do the offsetting of pointers or whether we want to do memory book style allocation so that these things never get invalidated. Print include never gets called. Let's just leave it for now. And that's what we just did. Handle unset numbering scheme, which we would need NS, so we just default to NS linear. Consider these with token unhandled and not using at all. Type checking if possible. Type checking if possible. Oh, this is in make string. So yeah, there's nothing else particularly interesting going on. Let's just do resolve local variable. Bear in mind that this may not actually need, you see the config start after all, so we don't actually ever need to check it. It's both for the persons. Okay, think about that. And the other thing is see what the variables we can handle. And yeah, like I say, we still don't actually have a story about this title list bullshit. So yeah, we do need to sort of think about that. Might be worth going back to the drawing board with that one and just seeing what we'd like to produce. Because essentially, the idea of this is that it would be propagated. This would be reflected when we get into the template stuff, and you're producing like lists of titles essentially. So in the same way that we just the family here, right, in the same way we just produced that, it would be essentially producing stuff like right, it'd be essentially producing that kind of a thing, but doing it in a way that you want to actually write it. So I mean, one way would be, I think the example I'm trying to express was like this sort of an idea, right? So you have for COAD, they have the title Computer Organisation and Design, which is that, but it also has it like its parent has a title Book Club, and I think the Project Books parent does not have a title. So yes, this thing wouldn't have that kind of thing. You wouldn't be able to produce a title that has anything before that, if you know what I mean. But I was wondering about being able to produce this sort of a thing and how we would express that. So yeah, we might need to postpone that actually until we get on to doing the actual template stuff. You know, keep that in the back of our minds as to how we want to be able to do that, if we want to be able to do that, and how we should go about it. But yeah, that is all for the future. For now, though, we are satisfied that we've resolved all the variables, and we're now correctly absorbing and merging everything that we need to be absorbing and merging. So for now, let's call it a day. Did I go 3 hours? Let's call it a day, and we'll reconvene another time. So thanks very much, heroes and heroines, for being here, for being fantastic, beautiful, and all the good things. Until next time, farewell for now.